say since I was a kid, it's definitely been a lot better. I remember growing up as a kid that even like in elementary school, people tended to stick to their own races. But as I moved into high school, I saw that more and more of my friends were becoming from diverse backgrounds. I will say that it seems like it's gotten worse, but I think it's more because there's more publicity in those areas. There's more news coverage on racial conflicts, but I'd say overall it's gotten better.
Yeah, I would definitely say that even though things definitely aren't perfect now, things have gotten a lot better like through the years. Like I'll say just like in the South in general, like there's still ignorance, but at the same time there's been a really big rise in like people accepting other things and willing to like go out and learn about race issues. So I would say like they're okay, but they are improving.
What do you think you'll see at the march tomorrow?
I think I'll see a lot of people protesting about different things. I see people protesting for more rights for LGBTs, especially in this state. Maybe protesters protesting for different things, such as economic equality. What do you think?
I'm thinking the march tomorrow is going to be a lot, especially with the political climate, it might just be directed at certain politicians. It might be a lot of just energy for specifically like political change or for those politicians in power right now. But I think in general, one of the big issues that we may wind up seeing like talked about there might be healthcare. Because healthcare is a really big deal. Yeah. HK or the historic Thousands on Jones Street, was started in 2006 by Reverend Dr. William J. Barber III. In 2007, the first HK People's Assembly was organized, with 3,500 participants signing the 14-point People's Agenda. The People's Agenda included issues like healthcare for all, expanding same-day voter registration, securing more funding for HBCUs, prison reform, environmental justice, and protecting the rights of immigrants. Since 2007, the group has organized a march on the second Saturday of February, where they convene, march to the Capitol, and hold a rally.
We're here because this is a fight. This is a battle, I think, for the soul of our democracy and for justice and equality. And if these are things you believe in, then you should be here to let the world know that we will not go quietly into the night. We're going to continue to fight and to struggle to make this a society that we all can be proud of.
Dad, I need you to understand here today that if we're going to mobilize effectively, everyone that is young, everyone that is black, and everyone that is poor must go to the polls. Because when we vote, we win.
So why are you here today?
I'm here to support equality, justice. Everyone's vote counts. Every person counts.
Do you think that race plays an important role in how you vote?
Yes, I do. Race and nationality make a big difference. Having or trying to oust people because of their race or nationality from voting is just not right. It's just not justice. It's not the American way.
Why do you think people of color tend to vote less than white people do? Do you know?
I believe because of discouragement from the past and slavery and being brainwashed into thinking that they don't matter.
We are hopeful. What does hope look like? Hope looks like hundreds of thousands marching on Jones Street, a capital street not meant for the poor. What does hope look like? Hope looks like the awakening of a nation, the realization that poor is not a bad word, because poverty is not a reflection of character in people, but a reflection of character in the systems that compose this nation.
I'm saying no to prisons, to jails, and detention centers. I'm saying not one more of our loved ones taken by police and ICE. I'm saying no to capitalism's war machines. But I'm also saying yes I'm saying yes to an end of carceral systems. I'm saying yes to radical change and transformation. I'm saying yes to an end of all systems of oppression.
So do you think justice and race are intertwined?
Of course. Justice and race have always been intertwined. And it can be everything from justice in the court system, or rather injustice with unjust cash bail, with mass incarceration. Justice also shows up in LGBTQ equality, reproductive justice, even surveillance and police accountability. All of those things, not only are those systems are broken, but they're all intertwined with race.
So do you think people of color have harder times getting justice than, let's say, white people in similar court cases?
Of course, we know from data that people of color are disproportionately arrested in the first place, and once they get into the court system through unconscious bias and sometimes outright racial bias, they are often given stronger sentences, longer time, or a jail sentence in the first place. And we know that white folks, more often than not, are let either off with no jail time or fewer years served, and we know that from the data, so that's clear.
And what difference do you expect to see between Shaw and State?
I mean, I think the biggest one is just the populace. You know, it's a historically black college, so we're definitely seeing a population that tends to be more African American than over here. I also think that because of that, it's going to be very uniform in population in terms of racial identity. So I think a lot of people who are going to be interviewing tomorrow are definitely identify as being black at Shaw. Instead of, let's say if I did it over here, there'd be a lot of people who are Asian or white.
Yeah, I'm thinking one of the big differences we're seeing in the people we interview is probably a closer attachment to like the history and like the community that they have there at Shaw. Partially because they're a smart school, but also because I feel like that's kind of part of the identity of an HBCU is a school that's like closely knit on the idea of race. Shaw University was founded in 1865 by Henry Martin Tupper and was the first HBCU in the South. The school was the first to offer a 4-year medical program, the first HBCU to allow women to enroll, and the first to receive an A rating from the State Department of Public Instruction. SNCC was started at Shaw. They organized a sit-in at Raleigh's F.W. Woolworth in 1960 at the same time a sit-in was happening at Greensboro. Shaw has programs in athletic training, kinesiotherapy, social work, divinity, religious education, and teacher education.
So like, how is student life here different? I don't know, like maybe y'all have transferred from another school before, but like, do y'all know like how student life here is different from, let's say, other state universities?
I feel like it's different because we're a little bit more together, like culturally, and I think we like make events according to like our culture.
Yeah.
You know.
Did like the historical, like, I don't know, maybe y'all do know more about the historical significance of like this university. Like, did that have any significant like aspect of why you chose the school?
I did think, well, before choosing the school, I did want to go to a HBCU for the purpose of just knowing that I was raised in a black, community. Right. And it's like I'm kind of going into another black community.
So like regarding class size, what's the typical class size for you guys?
It's maybe like 20 to 30. Yeah.
Wow. So do you guys get to know your classmates pretty well, like your professors?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, that's definitely something we don't do.
No. Historically black, of course, we have a more diverse population now than we used to. But as you know, Shaw was we're the oldest HBCU in the South. I think the only other university older than us is Cheney. We had the first medical school for African Americans. And it's not only just an institution for African Americans, but it's also an institution for the community, because had it not been for Shaw, a lot of the African American businesses and community would not be what it is today, or what it had been in the past. I think the main difference is it's a place to keep the African American culture intact, because I think in some ways the public and society at large tries to diminish the African culture, African American culture itself, not just the language or the hairstyles and all of that, but the culture. They try to say that it's not entirely positive, but there are many aspects of our culture that really are positives, and so I think we do a good job of that. And we also may come from backgrounds that don't see education as being that important, but when they get here, they do get that. Whereas a predominantly white, large white institution, they may not feel that. And we do, I think, more nurturing for kids of our own race than, say, another university might do at large. Because, you know, larger institutions, you kind of get lost in the crowd. And so whether it's a predominantly black institution or a smaller institution, even predominantly white institution, you get that more nurturing one-on-one attention and that kind of thing, kind of building your self-esteem aspect. And that's, I like to think that that's what we do here on this campus. And I think that's a good thing because it gives them a sense of a safe place for them, because the world and society at large does not see our young black men as a safe individual all the time. And so here on campus is a place that they can feel safe, they can feel free to express their ideas and kind of be who they are and not have to wear this facade all the time that they seem to have to wear in society. So, and I think without Shaw, I don't think Raleigh or North Carolina would be what it is today, as far as HBCUs go, because it was presidents from Fayetteville State. A&T actually started on this campus.
Oh, really?
It was an annex, and then they moved to Greensboro, so A&T actually started here on this campus. Actually, Ella Baker got her protesting chops here on campus. Her first protest was, back in those days, the women had a dress code. They had to wear these stockings. Well, back then the stockings were made out of cotton. So in the summertime, they were required to wear this hot cotton stockings, and she didn't like it. So she led a demonstration against wearing the hot stockings. And she actually got kicked out of school, but the dean of women was like, no, we cannot let this lady go. And she ended up graduating valedictorian and went on to start SNCC right here on this campus. So, you know, a lot of good things have happened here. We graduated 400 and some African-American doctors. St. Aug trained the nurses, so we had the doctors train. St. Aug's trained the nurses. A lot of our doctors went on to practice there. And if there's a house right beside McDonald's called the Pope House, is actually a museum. He was a doctor who was trained here at Shaw, and he kind of like helped to shape African-American middle-class society in Raleigh back in the day. So you can, I think the museum is open today, so you can go in there, and that's one of our graduates as well. So we have a rich history, and we're still continuing the job. So we hope that it can keep going despite the financial issues. But like I said, it's not just HBCUs, but all private colleges. I won't say all of them, but a lot of them are still feeling that impact.